Peter Schrager. Wonderful job joining us live from New York. NFL kickoff Sundays, 11 a.m. Eastern. He replaced me because he's much better. Okay, on that show. Here we go, Schrags. Let's start with this. It's really funny if you do the deep dive. So the Rams came into the season, the O-line was a mess. And Stafford's not running array. You know, he's an older quarterback. He's a pocket guy. Now the O-line's healthy. Puka's healthy. Cooper's healthy. Kyron Williams is healthy. I'm watching them last night. I'm watching Buffalo. When Stafford doesn't get sacked, they don't lose the last 2 years. I don't know. I look at this team. Maybe they're not Philadelphia or Detroit. Are they the third best team in the NFC? Your thoughts on this?
Well, the last thing the NFC contenders wanted to see was that logo come storming down the stretch, and here they are. They won 3 games in 10 days. They won a game against the Saints in New Orleans, and how many people watched that the defense closed the door at the end. Then they win 44-42 against the Bills. Then 4 days later, go play and win 12-6 last night. It is awesome how they can win such different ways.
Yeah.
I spoke to Sean McVay this morning, and he's like, this is the stuff that coarsens our team so that when we do have to go into January, the young guys see that we can win 44-42 in a shootout, or we can win in the rain 12-6 and our defense lead the way. Here's the beautiful part about this Rams season. The next 3 games, they play at the Jets in 10 days here in New York. They could even lose that game. It doesn't matter. They control their own destiny. As long as they beat Arizona and Seattle in 2 home games to end the season, they're the NFC West winners. They beat Seattle in a clutch game against them in Seattle in overtime a couple of weeks back, and they control the tiebreakers in a lot of ways if they beat the Cardinals in 2 weeks. So they control their own destiny. They were 3-6 last year and made the playoffs. They were 0-2 this year and written off this year, and they're already in a spot where they know what they can do, and they get a very important 10-day rest right now. So McVay's feeling good, and I don't think the Lions, I don't think the Packers, and I certainly don't think the Eagles want to see that McVay and that logo come playoff time.
Yep, they're finally healthy. So Bill Belichick's got a little addendum in his contract. I don't know if you saw that yet, that he can leave June 2nd. Now, he's obviously not leaving this year, but it does kind of tell you stuff that ends up in contracts, people fight for to get into contracts. And I've said, Schrags, I believe this. College football now has no structure. Bill thrives on it. I think it'll be so much fun for a year. But I don't know. It doesn't feel like the runway at Chapel Hill is a 5-6 year deal. Your thoughts?
It was a 5-year deal. Everyone reported it as a 5-year deal, but we also knew that it took about 3 days to be finalized. I reported on Fox NFL Kickoff on Sunday with rolled eyes from everyone on set that this was very legitimate. And my key point, which has not been a popular take, was that the NFL has rejected Bill Belichick. And now everyone's story yesterday was that Belichick is rejecting the NFL, and this is his way to say, I'm done with the NFL. It was mutual on that one. Now, what's interesting is I've heard he's still on board to do the Manning cast and still on board to do McAfee's show, which means that he's still going to be able to promote the happy, warm, fuzzy Belichick.
Yep.
And that if for a year he can do this. Now, I don't know if you saw Cliff Kingsbury's comments. You're like, why would Cliff Kingsbury's comments on Belichick? They asked him about it yesterday, and Cliff was like, I went back to college for a year last year. It's not fun. It's not a good place to be. I will not believe Belichick is coaching college until I actually see him coach a college game. Now, that's extreme. But I think there's a lot of us saying, just as much as Mike Lombardi and Belichick are out there and they're talking about how they're going to redo this and they're going to bring structure and all, it is a hellhole in a lot of ways in that college game right now, as far as it's a young man's game. And you know, what is Belichick going to do the first second that transfer portal opens up and 11 players look at him and like, look, I wasn't into the do your job thing. I'm out. Like, 5 years is a long time. Now, granted, he comes in there and he provides wonderful opportunities financially and economically and also employment-wise for a lot of his friends and family. So you're going to see a lot of people whose names you know, whether it be Patricia or McDaniels or whether it be Lombardi or it be a Lombardi son or a Belichick son or it be a McDaniels brother. There's going to be a whole cast of people that are coming with him that are all amazing football minds and want to coach and want to develop. Are they undervaluing the toxicity of the college game and just how cutthroat it is? In the last year, we have seen Jeff Hafley, who was, whether you thought he was a great coach at BC or not, leave to be a defensive coordinator in the NFL. That's a demotion in a lot of ways. You've seen Chip Kelly leave being a head coach at UCLA. I just want to coach offense. Let me be an offensive coordinator at Ohio State. And we have heard coach time and time again say, I just don't like where this thing is going.
Right.
Belichick's diving in at age 73 with a crew that's coming with him from the NFL and wants to revolutionize this thing. Let's check in and see how that's going. And if my last point on this, and I'm sorry, Colin, I'm doing like a monologue on your show. You're the king of the monologue. If you had told Belichick in January that this would end up him going to the 4th ACC team in North Carolina, that's how he would have scripted it, I don't think he would have said yes. So let's slow down on this is his dream job and all that stuff also.
So I was talking to Mike Vrabel yesterday, who's a great guy, bottom line guy, and we were talking about job openings. And, I'm not going to say a lot about it, but, one of the things I said, Mike, is with Bill going to college, you're the culture changer. You're last year's Harbaugh. And by the way, a lot of people don't know this. Vrabel finished second with the Chargers. A lot of people don't know that. They called him and said, "Oh yeah, he was." They were going Mike Vrabel, and then they went with Jim Harbaugh. And he, I'm sure he understood that. But it's interesting. Last year there was one great opening because of Justin Herbert. This year, Caleb Williams and Trevor Lawrence, but both of them, there's a little toxicity around the job. And then there's the Jets, where Aaron's not the long-term play, but he's talented for a year. Give me your take on the league interest in your NFL Rolodex phone these days. Gauge the Jets' interest. Where is it on the pecking order to candidates?
Yeah, look, I think there is something to being an NFL head coach and an NFL general manager where there's only 32 of those jobs, and if they call, you listen and you take the interview. I also think that you look at these different organizations, they all have their flaws right now. There is no shiny job this season right now. And, you look at the Jets and you could say, oh, the owners stink, The owners gave Joe Douglas everything he could have possibly wanted as far as the green light to go get Devontae Adams midseason, despite the season probably being lost. Go get Aaron Rodgers, do all these things, and gave him 6 years to win. So, look, the thing with the Jets job is that you've got to hire both a GM and you have to hire a coach. And now I don't know if Woody's watching right now, and he's the owner. One of the key things of that GM role is going to be managing up. And I don't know if everyone understands what that means, but if you've ever worked in an office, you understand that sometimes there's someone above you on the org chart that you need to manage that relationship too. And sometimes that relationship is protecting that person from things that he doesn't even know. The GM role is going to be as much about getting the right players and managing the salary cap, but also making sure that that building is as tightly lipped, but also that owner is as equipped and given all the information he needs where he feels confident to just let you do your thing. The managing up part is going to be huge. Now, who's the quarterback next year? Does Rodgers come back? I'm not going to say he doesn't. I do think they're going to have to figure out a plan after Rodgers, and that's going to probably be addressed in the draft or free agency this season as well.
Listen, Schrags, the one thing that knocks you out of the Super Bowl bubble is paying a B quarterback A-plus money. You can make a lot of mistakes in this league. You make that one, you're the Cowboys. I'm looking at Brock Purdy, career numbers that I put on the screen. Fourth quarter, trailing. Fourth quarter, one possession. He's a backup. And he came into this league with all these Hall of Famers. They're now old, brittle, expensive, and you got some guys now quitting in the game. Are we sure Purdy's getting whatever he wants? Because I couldn't pull the trigger on that contract.
No, it's hard. And I would just say this, having spoken to Lynch and know Shanahan, I don't think people realize just what a year from hell this has been for San Francisco. Before the season started, they were dealing with the contracts with Ayuk and Trent Williams. And then right before the eve of the start of the season, their first round pick gets shot. We have dealt with real tragedies. I'm talking about players who have had children pass away during the season, like beloved players. And then all of these injuries from the football standpoint that I almost want to give all of them a mulligan, including Brock Purdy. And yet Purdy has played well this season in spots. He has. Do I sign that check for $60 million? That's hard for me. And yet that is why John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan are paid amongst the highest as GMs and head coaches to go make those decisions. Jed York will play a role on that, but this has to be one of the hardest decisions to make because Purdy is everything you want in a leader. He is everything you want in a kid, but he has this 7th round pick kind of thing around him where you're like, but is he that guy? And it doesn't help that his backup last year, Sam Darnold, when given all the tools around him, is in the MVP conversation as well.
Yeah. Schrags, it's great seeing you. Keep crushing it.
Can I tell a quick story? Sure. I go to this, Hollywood spot, Craig's, and Craig, the owner, pulls me aside and is like, do you follow Colin Cowherd's, 5 picks every week? I'm like, I follow it. He's like, I've been following it for 10 years. He's like, there is nobody better than Colin when it comes to picks. I go, Craig from Craig's. I'm going to send that to Colin, and I'm going to let him know on his show on Friday.
Well, it's been a turbulent year, not for Craig's. It still has the best chicken parm, first or second best chicken parm. My buddy David Slade down in Manhattan Beach. So go to Craig. If you're ever in Hollywood and you want the Hollywood experience, Craig's is just fantastic. So they'll shout out to him. His chicken parm is better than my picks this year, and that's nice of you to say, buddy.
Okay. All right. We'll say that. Mine too. Dude, I took the Jets to be the 1 seed, so we're good.
Okay. Hi, everybody. It's me, Uncle Colin. Subscribe here to get the latest from the herd, including exclusive behind-the-scenes videos and more, wherever you may be, however you may be watching. Thanks again for making us part of your day.